Welcome back, friends. It's another episode of the Lumen Project. Hey, Jeff, what's up?
Hello, hello.
How many episodes are we in now? Like 14, 15?
Something like
We're,
that.
we're coming up on 20, man. We're getting there. So
Slowly but surely, we will get
slowly but
there.
surely, we're doing it. We're in this for the long haul. Um, well, we're talking about building a better network. I think this is a timely conversation, not only for us. It's the end of the year at the time of the recording, so a lot of times people get reflective. What am I going to do differently next year? And I think we should all just set a goal next year of building a better network. It just makes sense to me. Tired of bad
Yeah.
networks.
Well, like I was just telling you, I've always gone through this exercise at the end of every year where I try to simplify my life, and I've been doing it for the last couple weeks, simplifying my life, and that means hobbies that I picked up throughout the year. Like I'm that guy that's like, I mean, this is a perfect example. I was out in the garage yesterday. There's a bunch of Hot Wheels cars and a airbrush. Like I went out and spent $700 on an airbrush thing because during COVID, I started remodeling, if you want to call it that, Hot Wheels, like old Hot Wheels cars. I
Oh, wow.
sand them down, strip them down,
Wow.
put new tires, wheels, and then spray paint them.
Huh.
I haven't touched it since. It's just been sitting out in the garage, and I'm like, I really should get rid of that. It's like I don't need an 800 or 700 however many dollar airbrush set that I'm never going to use again. I should sell that thing. So at the end of the year, I do stuff like that where I'm simplifying my life. I'm getting rid of hobbies. It sounds bad to say, but getting rid of people in my life
Mm,
that I don't
yeah.
get good energy from,
Yep.
like vampires, if you want to call it. Like they suck your energy. They
Yeah.
they only reach out when they need something from you.
Mm,
I reach out to them. That's the only time I ever hear from them. And if I
yeah.
stop, you
Right.
quickly realize like I'm never going to hear from that person.
Unless
Maybe
they
ever
need a favor. Unless they need a favor.
unless they need something,
Reservation
right?
somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, 2 years goes by and it's like, hey, do you know the manager of such
Right.
and such whiskey library? Because I
Right. Right.
need to get a reservation and I can't.
Right.
Uh,
Oh, God.
but that led me into thinking like, all right, I'm now to the point where I think I've gotten most of that like negative stuff. And then looking forward, this is the new part. Like I've never done the looking forward part and gone like, all right, what can I do this year to
Mm,
attract good, solid people into that so that I'm, not just willy-nilly going throughout the year and then at the end of the year going, like, I picked up some people that I need to get rid of again. Like why I
right.
need to break that cycle. So I think we're on the same page of
Yeah.
like we go into 2024. I want to start looking at my network and
Mm,
how I can build a better network of more solid people that are in the same
yeah.
level and mindset
Yep.
and like driven as I am and all of that. And so that's where
Yeah.
I'm at
Yeah. Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah. No, I
mentally.
like that a lot. It's, I think we could all have examples of like, well, I say all of us who are on a path where we're like, if you're purpose driven, you've pointed your life in the direction of making an impact, wanting to find some sense of purpose, you're into personal development, being the best version of yourself. If that's you, then like us, you could say like, yeah, I go to like a chamber meeting or an association, or I go to some networking event, and at some level, it just, for me at least, it falls. They usually 90. oh, Well, I really just should say 100% of the time. If 100% of the time they fall flat, and if there's anything good about them, it's because I generated it. I made it good because I had a conversation that turned the corner. But it, I think it's hard to find. This might be a place to go in our conversation, but it's hard to find the people. How do I find people that would actually be good? Do I go to networking events? I think that's like going to, well, I'm here. I think that's like going to a bar and hoping to, find the love of your life. I think that's,
Yeah.
I
It
think that's
it it
hard.
it, it kind of is. And it's funny. I've been having that conversation too recently because I am single still, and I just don't go out with
Mhm,
that mindset, right? Like if I'm going to a bar to have a drink or two, it's usually with a buddy,
mhm.
and maybe that's what people are like. Well, if you're just out there and you're not looking that hard, it'll happen. And I'm like, but not where I go. Like, and if it does, I don't want it to be that.
Right.
I don't want to meet somebody
Yeah.
you're it's a crappy dive bar that I'm not trying to meet somebody at. So when I go to these networking events, it's the same thing. And back in the day, I ended up having to start my own because
Mm.
I mean, and this was in 2006. I was up in Vancouver. I was a mortgage broker at the time.
Yeah.
I was young. I was 20 something, 20,
Wow.
23, 24, whatever.
Mm.
And like as a 23-year-old guy in the mortgage business, I'm going to the Rotary, the Chamber. There were a couple of those like Latip groups, and there's another one that was up there, but those were like the paid. A lot of
Mm.
these were paid actually.
Right.
And I go there and I'm like, man, everybody here is like 70.
Wow. Yeah.
No
Right.
offense to our older crew, like,
Hmm.
but I just had nothing in common with them. I couldn't even have a conversation typically because, it's like what it's like
Yeah.
talking to my grandpa half the time. Like, I love you, man, but
Right.
I'm not interested. So,
Yeah.
uh, so I started my own, and that led to kind of the realization that kind of what we're doing here. It's like
Yeah.
if you're out trying to find the right people, sometimes you have to go searching for them, and I shouldn't have to search too hard if we go to the right places and we do specific things. And so we started doing fun events. Like the whole premise of the group was just to get together. It was a networking group, but it was like, let's relax
Yeah.
with a like-minded group of young at heart. It was called the Young Professionals of Vancouver. And I'm like, age doesn't matter technically, as long as you're young at heart, you're driven, and you have some sort of purpose
Yeah.
to be here, instead of like, my boss made me come, or I need
Right.
leads. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make all the money because I'm gonna get leads from all of you. Like, we didn't put up with that crap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're sharing that and something's coming up for me, which is like I think too our uh our interests evolve as we get older. Like I'm 47, and I think in my 20s and 30s it was all about the hustle, like let's build the business, let's get so so the idea of finding networks of hustlers, networks of, Gary V fans, networks of um, people trying to build an empire. I think that was okay and actually common ground for me. Now that I'm
Mhm.
47, I'm like, dude, first of all, I don't have the energy to do that. I'm not trying to do that anymore. But I am trying to go, how do I make my life count in a way that pays it forward? How do I leave some impact? How do I and so my attention has turned towards purpose. And if you're 47 going to like the hustle, the 20 something young professional hustle group, you might have a mismatch of intention. Or you go to the tip and you're hanging out with the 70-year-olds, you might have a mismatch of intention. So I really think topically it's easier to find your people around a topic than it is just trying to like hunt and peck your way to like the right fit.
Yep. So yeah, I mentioned it to you the other day of the we kind of got to that point. And the cool thing about this, so I ran that group from 2006 to, I don't know, it had to be 6 or 7 years, so maybe 2013. I could be wrong, but quite a while. And we went through a lot of like growth, and that was probably wise, because as I got older, my intentions changed, and the group, like, I saw so much potential. And so we got to the point where, like, we had I'm trying to think of the word, not charity, but where you raise money for a scholarship. So we did like a
Ah,
scholarship fund. We did a lot of charity. We did the toy drive I was telling you about. But then we started doing fun events around education,
hmm,
and that Breakfast of Champions came.
hmm.
And this is where, like, we were talking about last week, right? I think.
I can't remember. It's all a blur. I'm 47, Jeff. I'm
I know.
47.
Like, I'm pretty sure
I
it was
can't
you and
remember what I
I.
had for breakfast.
Maybe it was somebody else, but anyway, no, I think it was you and I. But what it came down to was some of the people in our group wanted more than others. Some people just wanted to go to the event, have a few drinks, mix
Mm,
and mingle. And then some of us wanted to go leave a legacy and do a
mm,
scholarship fund. Some
mm,
of us wanted to go do educational things in the community. So we kind of split into these, different things. And so we started this one called the Breakfast of Champions, where once a month we got a big group together for breakfast, obviously, and then we had a guest speaker come in and talk about a topic on building our businesses.
Yeah.
That was what led the conversation the youth started was about the purpose and profits. And I
Right.
was like, oh, I did something similar to that. So it was in
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
the same scope where it was like somebody stepped up and said, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Because I I I feel like I have a bigger purpose than just going and drinking and trading business cards. I want to go do something cooler, something better in the community, something bigger, whatever it may be. And that was kind of how that started.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Well, I think I love that you brought up purpose and profits. So we are those of you listening. We're planning. I don't know that we have a specific date quite yet. It's December right now, and I think we're thinking January, February, um, for a first purpose and profits event. A little networking front and back end of the event, some guest speaker, some content in the middle there to sort of challenge our thinking about purpose and profits. But I think one of the things I love about that as an event is that if you're not interested in purpose, you probably wouldn't sign up for that. And so, and if you're interested in building a better network and purpose is important to you, then coming to an event like that would be fucking make total sense to network with people who, you know, I'm here for the conversation of purpose and profits.
Right. And that's what I meant
Makes total
earlier. Like,
sense.
we just have to create it. Like if there's this idea and it doesn't, I mean, I guess this is anything, right? Like if there's this idea that I had and it doesn't exist, I just need to go figure out how to create it, do it myself.
Yeah. 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 Well, and so I was just thinking like some of you listening to this might think, yeah, I don't know that I have the energy for all of it. And in which case, I think that's why Jeff and I are creating it, right? Like, there's an opportunity that you don't have to. Again, gone are the days where I'm looking to try to build everything. You know, I think there's a time I'm like building now. I'm just like I'm found my lane. I found my lane. I'm building what I'm building, and I'm building it for the benefit of those who want to be inside it. Like, if you feel like you can have um build a better network because Jeff and I are hosting an event called Purpose and Profits. And you don't have to create that event and do all the gyrations to make it happen. Like,
Like
it's here. We're doing it.
if you build it, they will come. We will bring everybody. And
Building it.
that, I mean, I still have lifelong friends that I met from some of those events back in the day that I
Wow.
would say,
That's cool.
like that's not my network in the sense of who I hang out with all the time.
Yeah.
But people ask me fairly often, people will come to me and ask me the most random thing. And I'm like, oh, I know somebody that does that.
Yeah.
And like my mom asked me, she's like, how do you know so many just random ass people that do the most random things? I'm like, I have a massive network because I built that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The beauty of it is when we do it this way is that, like you become friends also.
Yeah.
So it's not just a bunch of like, oh yeah, I have that guy's business card in my drawer. Like, let me go find
Right.
it. It's
Right.
like, no, I talked to Tina last week about insurance. Like, I've got all these people for all of
Yeah.
these things. Like,
Yeah.
building a network like that is super, super powerful. And there's a type, what is it called? Like, you're a connector when you're that person.
Mm.
And there's a pretty immense value in being that person out in the world if you're trying to bring more people into your world.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've met so many people because I get introduced. They're like, Jeff has, this network of
Mm.
all sorts of people. Like, he probably knows somebody that can help us, and they'll come to me with a problem. And now, sometimes that gets kind of old.
Yeah.
Going back to what I talked about in the beginning, like if you only come to me when you need something,
Yeah.
I'm going to figure that out pretty quickly. But I've kind of done that to myself in that sense. So like I've built this massive network. I pride myself on knowing somebody or, either being able to figure it out myself or knowing somebody who can help us. And I don't mind making referrals all day long.
Yeah.
I don't need to be in a Latip group and be paying to do that. I
Yeah.
like if you came to me and said, hey, I need somebody to do this on my car, I'd probably know somebody. And I'm not going to be like,
Right.
oh, hey man, I've got a buddy and for $25. Like,
I think part of the I mean, there's a piece here that is in the future for me, which is beyond just building a better network for the things that network can do for you today, like how the network can better your life, your business, et cetera. That one of the things I think I'm most excited about is finding those who are headed in a similar direction, and then the interdependence, the synergy and collaboration and co-creation of what can happen when you have a group of people you trust, that we're friends. We don't just exchange business cards. We're friends, and that in that friendship and that um, alignment of what we say our life is about, that there's something that gets to be created together, and we're just not there yet. We're not far enough in the future of the relationship yet to do it. But I see that happening inside the Lumen Project, that guys are here and we're friends with each other, and we're having meaningful, deep conversations about things that matter. And then out of those conversations come the next creation. Like, oh my God, let's create whatever.
Well, it's funny because the natural progression of that group was, my friend and I starting it just as a way to not have to go to the Rotary and to do a little bit of networking. Eventually, we realized what you just said, like, wow, there's more to this than what we originally intended it to be.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if, and then, we went down that route. And what it led to was the core group of people that showed up consistently, that were on the same wavelength, that had the same ideas and probably purpose in life. They were there every month consistently, and that led to these conversations that eventually led to forming a board of directors.
Mm.
The group became a nonprofit. I mean, it became a way bigger thing than I initially intended it.
Mm.
But the next like
Mm.
evolution of that was we formed this core group, and then that core group became our board of directors, so president, vice president, secretary, and all of that.
Mm.
And I mean, we're all still really good friends,
Wow.
even though we've all gone our separate ways. Like, I'm not affiliated with it at all anymore,
Yeah.
but I know I could call any one of them at any time if I needed something, and vice versa for them, even though I haven't talked to them in years. Like
Yeah.
those kind of friends, and that's what I think we're on the path to do. Is
Yeah.
we've kind of got this like loose networking idea going, and then eventually out of that, there's going to be 1, 2, 5, 10, however many that are the core group that start
Yeah.
coming together.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets fun, because then you
Yeah.
can do all sorts of shit.
Yep.
You might come to me and be like, hey, I have this idea. Here's what I want to do with my business, or here's what I'm thinking. And, it's almost like this little like mastermind consulting group,
Yeah.
all working on the same type of stuff. It's super fun.
Yeah. You and I have already had those kind of conversations, like about whether it's different marketing things that we can do, having some commercial spaces. There's all that's those conversations have already been started, which is fun. Like imagine adding more men to a community who have an intention for making the world a better place, and doing so through business. I don't know, it just excites me a little bit, because you're like, yeah, let's find those people.
Yeah. Can we fast forward like 2 years?
Yeah, let's build. Yeah, right, exactly. Let's build that network. Let's do
It's
that thing.
funny. And I mean, in thinking about it, like just in this conversation, I'm like, that's about how long it took. The first year, we kind of stumbled along, and it was like, all right, what is this thing?
Mm,
And then the second year, we got a little bit of momentum. And then the third year, we formed the actual nonprofit, and then started doing all the cool, bigger things. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's clearly a timeline, and we seem to be following the similar path. And
yeah,
not to say we don't have it figured out right now, but
mm, yeah, yeah. No, that is interesting. I like that. Reminds me of Jim Collins in Good to Great. That's one of my favorite books of all time. But just how long it took the Good to Great companies to have their breakout moment. It's like once you find the flywheel, once you find the thing, you're like, this is the thing we're doing, and we're going to keep doing this thing. And we're
yeah,
going to sell the font. We're going to sell all the other stuff. And kind of like to your point in December, cleaning out the stuff that doesn't serve it. We're going to get rid of the stuff that doesn't serve us. And this is what we're doing. And then you just keep doing it. You push the flywheel year after year after year. And I think it was on average, this won't take us 16 years, but the average, I think he said, was like 16 years for the breakout moment in results in the stock market.
yeah, for like the
Mhm.
big businesses. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like Nikes and Apples and all of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But there is
oh,
some, I mean, if I was thinking about like what if I kind of pulled back the curtain for people on like what makes this work, what is it about the Lumen Project that makes it work? And for me, I think it's um, there's something about having a conversation together. Let me do it let me do it the opposite way. It's um, most groups or communities are built around content, a subject matter expert who said, here's my system for how to do Facebook ads, or here's my system for how to do webinars, or here's whatever. Like, here's my system. Alex Hormozy and $100 million offers. Like, here's my thing.
Right.
And then they build a community around the content, the system. And then what you end up having is a student teacher relationship where people are here to be disciples of the person who's saying the thing of how they did the thing. And so you never get a peer-to-peer relationship, and you hardly ever get access to the person on a pedestal. So I think that being my experience year after year of like paying for programs and communities, coming out of that, like what I wanted was people who were up to speed on the things I was thinking, so that we could have a conversation together that challenged me and I challenged you, that there was this like wrestling through like what's next and how to think about something. I didn't want somebody's cheap answer anymore. I wanted my own answer, but I wanted people I could wrestle it through with, so that and people I respected, because you're smart and I'm smart, and that makes a better conversation. And I
Yeah.
think what's happening in the Lumen Project is what makes it work is we have intelligent conversations that challenge our thinking and our paradigm. And out of that comes something really cool, including relationship. That's what
Should
I
write,
think. What do
oh,
you, I'm, you might
I
see
should write
something
that
additional.
down. No, that was a great quote. Intelligent conversations, like whatever you said, intelligent
Whatever I
conversation.
said.
Damn
Whatever.
it.
Yeah, damn it. Well, at least it's recorded. I mean, I think it's important to kind of look at like, how's the sausage made? Well, I think part of what's making this thing work is like when you are relating to others as a peer. Anybody that joins the Lumen Project, I don't think I'm better than you. Jeff doesn't think he's better than you. It's like we have the answers. We're peers in this thing called how do we find our purpose and walk it home? That's a different energy.
And going back to the networking group, it's very similar for me, and I think for you as well. When I said it, like if you build it, they will come kind of situation. So
Yeah.
knowing that I need I won't say need, but knowing that I want a group of
Mhm.
more successful, driven, purpose driven people around me.
Yeah.
How do I go find that? Oh, I have to build it. Okay. Going back to the networking thing, same deal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this didn't exist. Cool. I'm just gonna have to build it. So
Yeah.
the uh, it helps me. I guess what I'm trying to say is it potentially helps me more than it helps you being involved or somebody else being involved, because they have, everybody has their own reasons. My reason is I love helping other people, but
Yeah.
also I kind of need it too.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yeah. Totally.
it makes sense in my little head.
No. Yeah. Totally. When I started my first community 2 years ago, we still meet, and I built it because I was like, I want this. I want it. I was leading 6-week intensive programs around marketing messaging, and we'd have these amazing conversations, sharing our soul about the thing we feel like we're called to share with the world. And then the program would be done, and we go our separate ways. And I'm like, and then I'd get, what, weeks and months into getting ready for the next launch of a program. And I'm like, that sucked.
Yeah.
I liked the part where we were talking.
Right, right.
Why are we not doing that every week? I was just a better version of myself in the presence of others who were up to speed with the kind of things I was thinking and doing. And if you're up to speed, this is why you and I are getting along so well, because when you're up to speed with the kinds of things we're creating and thinking, then to show up every week is just fun. This is just fun.
Yeah. You don't dread of like showing up and being like, oh, I have to see Bob. He's gonna
Ah,
hit me
Chris
up
again.
saying
Damn
shit.
it. God.
Anybody who's been to a networking event knows that those people, like those, you see him walk into the room, you're like, oh God, I gotta avoid that guy. He's gonna try to sell me something again, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Well, I love the idea that you and I can build this so that it has a reputation. And the reputation is, dude, when I go to a Lumen Project event, like I know first class, like the kind of people that are there, they're purposeful, they're intentional about their life and what they're wanting to contribute. They're also successful in business and they're intelligent and they can think at the speed I think. Like so people would come to a Lumen Project event and join a Lumen Project community because they know the caliber of people that are going to be there.
Yep.
I love that
Your
reputation.
you had a different quote than I did. Mine was not that it's mine, but your network is your net worth, and yours
Oh,
was your network works better.
oh yeah, yeah. The network makes the networking better.
That's what it was. Yeah, the network
Yeah.
makes the networking better.
Yeah. 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 I just think that's true. Well,
That's that's my
is that a good
story.
place to is that a good place to tie it off with a bow?
I think so. It's
It is.
yeah, it's funny. I'm excited again because I say that group that I built back in the day, like that was my baby for the longest time, and it was really hard to turn it over at some point.
Mm,
You know, when I like we literally had a board, we were at 503c, and
yep.
he had to elect people and do all that stuff. And it just got to the point where it wasn't serving me anymore. I didn't work up there, and I was no longer a loan officer. And it was more just for fun and my kind of nostalgia
Yep.
of like, I'm on the board, I can help you guys, you know, kind of an advisor situation.
Mm,
But even that got to the point where, you know, it was like once everybody else had been involved for quite a while, I was like, they didn't really need me
mm,
anymore.
mm.
And that's a weird feeling when it's kind of like, but this is my baby,
Right.
so letting it go was hard, but I'm excited to build something similar and you know, take what I learned last time and make it even better.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, because as we've gotten older, like I think our purpose gets clear, like what the Lumen Project is an iteration and I'll say improvement just because it's more in alignment with purpose.
Yeah.
Not that it's better than the other thing, just but it's an iteration of where your life has gone, what you felt called to. I like
Just because
that.
I was trying to do a mortgage here and there.
It's funny how life equips us though. We go through things. I can look over my 20 years in business and just think, I can, on one hand, I can think, God, how many times I failed about things. And then on the other hand, go, all of those things have equipped me to do what I'm doing today. Like I could not do what I'm doing today if I had not been through those things. And, you know, nothing's
Yeah.
wasted. Nothing's wasted in life.
Yep. They saying I say back in the day, like, and I don't know if I got this from somebody or if I did actually make this up, but it's basically like I don't know how to fail, because if I fail I learn,
Mm, mm,
and that isn't
mm.
failing technically. So
Yeah.
I don't know how to fail.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I like that.
And I failed a lot in life. So, but I still don't know how.
Join the club. Me too. Yes. Got it. Well, I mean, maybe an invitation here if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I can't stand to go to another networking meeting.
Yeah.
I want a better relationship. I want a better network, but I don't want to go to my existing options to try to network. Yeah, I got it. I think that's what Jeff and I feel too. And so we created the Lumen Project to be a place where you could connect with and network with other purpose-driven men who, want to do more than just sell the next thing they're selling. So, yeah. If you want to
Yeah,
learn
I
more
think
about it, you can go to the Lumen Project, thelumenproject.com.
I was actually just thinking to myself, we don't have like an email sign up form. We have an application to join the project, but we should put an email sign up back on there. People that just are interested in getting more
Oh
information
yeah.
about the events or something like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
now, if you're listening and that doesn't exist for you, you can go and hit the apply button and just put a note in there that's like, hey, I just want to learn more. Let us know.
Yeah.
Or find us on Facebook or Instagram or wherever.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad too. We've got a free Facebook group. It's private, but it's free. It's called Purpose Driven Men. So you can go to facebook.com/groups/ purpose driven men group. Purpose driven men group. That's the address. But and I think there's a link for that on the website too. But anyway, reach out to us. Be sleuthy and creative about finding us. You know, if you can't find us, then
We'll
I'm
make
not
it
sure this is
easier.
going to be a
We'll make
fit.
it easier soon.
I'm not sure this is going to be a fit if you can't find us.
Right. Well, yeah. That too.
I mean, I am the king of YouTube and Google. Like, you know, somebody I don't know how to do something, I go figure it out on the internet.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, okay, well, good stuff.
Cool.
Go to
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
thelumenproject.com. Jeff, thanks for another great episode.
You as
We'll see you
well.
next week.
Always.